Hello, hello. Hi. Hi, Ted. Happy
Hey, Manila.
Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. I'm Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You are tuned into the Ted Manila Information Show, or the TMI Show for short, because we bring you way too much information. And we do it every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, and the share button as we continue to grow our little program. Hopefully, the boys held down the fort yesterday. I haven't been able to catch up with anything. I wasn't really in front of my computer yesterday. So I'm going to have to check that out later and see what you boys were talking about while the one lady of the show was away.
Well, you don't know. Things could have changed. We could have become ladies while you were gone.
That's true. I mean, you know what 2025 brought? I don't even know. I can't imagine what 2026 is going to bring. What, 3 weeks from now? Yikes.
Who knows?
Who knows? So, all right, let's stick it. If it, as they say, Ted, if it ain't tight, it ain't right. We got to
That's
stick
what
to
they say.
the show today. We got to stick to the tight programming time. So let's hop to it. All right, this one is definitely, it's a Manila story for sure.
I
Okay,
love this story, though.
So I'll give you the original link. Comes from Bloomberg. So this is a summary, an AI summary of the Bloomberg article. But it goes something like this: more women are leading than ever. So why is trust in them dropping? I have some thoughts, Ted.
I had a feeling.
So here's the paradox of 2025. Women are holding more top jobs in politics and business than any time in modern history. Yet public trust in women leaders is falling. The latest Reykjavík Index for leadership. If I knew they were there, Ted, I would have gone to see these people in Iceland. The gold standard measure of how comfortable people feel with men and women in positions of power shows a stubborn decline. Across the G7 nations, the overall score sits at 68 out of 100. A perfect 100 would mean men and women are viewed as equally suited to lead. We're nowhere close. We're at 68. Okay. Worse, the number hasn't budged in a year and is several points lower than it was before the pandemic. And it gets murkier. Here are the receipts. Only 47% of Americans say they are, quote, very comfortable with a woman as a head of government. For female CEOs, comfort rises a little higher to 53%, but still barely crossing that halfway mark. Among younger adults,
I'd be interested in the split by gender. Like, what percentage of those people are men and what
I see.
are women, you know?
Yeah, we have to go. We're going to have to call on Reykjavik. They all speak English, Ted, so I think we can call them now.
All right. Show trip. We'll all pack
Seriously,
up and go.
I'm so game. So game. Younger adults age 18 to 34 are showing the sharpest drop in confidence. In multiple countries, the youth score slid several points in just 12 months. In some European countries, comfort with women leading fell more among women than among men, Ted. So that's
women
I don't have the exact number.
Self-hating.
I don't have the exact number, but it says women are distrusting other women in leadership positions than men, a trend researchers quietly call internalized bias. Oh my God. That's something I want to talk about. So this isn't a fringe issue. The measurement comes from repeated large-scale polling conducted annually across major economies. It reflects a broad cultural reality. Representation has increased faster than acceptance. Hello, DEI. Experts point to something called the expectation gap. When very few women were in charge, they symbolized change, competence, and optimism. Now that more women actually hold power, they face greater visibility, higher scrutiny, harsher criticism, fewer second chances, which I can agree.
Frankly, that's reasonable.
That's true. In other words, as soon as women move from symbolic to real power, the discomfort surfaces. Add to that the political
Or
turbulence of
maybe
recent years.
disappointment maybe is more to the point.
Yes. Female
You
leaders
said you were going to
have,
change everything, and then you
right.
didn't.
And you're more of the same, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Maybe worse. Female leaders have been front and center in everything from pandemic decisions to wars, economic downturns, and cultural fights. And unlike their male peers, their mistakes or perceived mistakes are interpreted as proof of a gender problem. Here's the bigger pattern. This isn't just politics. Declines in trust appear across business, media, education, and cultural leadership. One more irony: women are more likely to trust men as leaders than men are to trust
Manila,
women.
producer Robbie is telling us that we are having some tech issues. Robbie's gonna do a quick refresh, so just stand by. Robbie, go ahead and do that. Okay.
Where's the audio bad? Robbie's
doing.
bad?
I mean, apparently there's chipping on the broadcast for both of us. Yeah, like audio. The audio is not good. The video is okay.
Huh. So it's on Rumble? Is it a Rumble problem?
I don't know, but according to, I would imagine it's across the board. It could be a StreamYard issue.
We're streaming to X, and
it could be an X issue too. Who knows?
Rumble.
Anyway, we'll see what happens here.
Okay, I think they're saying it's good now. The Rumble Room says good.
Let's just pick up where you were. We don't have to start from scratch.
Okay, Rumble Room says it's good. Okay, so the irony is women are more likely to trust men as leaders than men are to trust women. Mm-hmm. Bias isn't just external, it's baked into the culture. The world got what it said it wanted: more women in charge, but society hasn't done the harder work of accepting them once they arrive. Oh. Representation is no longer the barrier. Legitimacy is. It turns out that electing women was the easy part. Believing in them, that's where the G7 countries are stuck. I have so many thoughts on all of these, Ted, but I mean, that's to be expected.
But who would care about your thoughts? You're a woman. Just kidding.
That's right. That's right. Like, what do you make of this? I don't want to influence your male brain here, Ted.
Uh-huh.
What's
isn't that an oxymoron?
What are your thoughts on this? Like, why the gap? I mean, I made little comments along the way, so I think people can kind of guess where I'm leaning on this. And there is cultural influence, and there is, but I have something else that'll probably piss off a lot of people that are,
I think sexism,
very progressive DEI stuff.
Look, sexism and misogyny are obviously very real. No question about that. And, self-hating women is a real thing too. I mean, the Equal Rights Amendment was largely opposed by women. It would have passed if it had been up to men. So, the thing is, Phyllis Schlafly is a great example. That's a real thing. I know a lot of women who personally will tell me, and I'm like, they're like, oh, women don't make good leaders. I'm like, you run your own business. You're a powerful, competent leader. Yeah, but I don't think I should be president. So that happens. That said, I think this is just what you and I hinted at. I think the reality is, it's one thing to say, like, if women were in charge, there'd be no more stupid wars. If women were in charge, we'd be at peace. If women were in charge, we'd have common sense. We wouldn't have all the macho posturing. We've heard that. I'm 62 years old. I heard that most of the first half of my adult life. And then we started electing ladies. And we got Indira Gandhi, who threw the entire political opposition into prison in India. We got Margaret Thatcher, who was a raging cunt. We got Hillary Clinton, Janet Reno, fucking murderer. At Waco, fucking maniac. And so, you end up with. So the thing is, it's kind of
Robbie says Mary, Queen of Scots.
Right. So the thing is, people try women, and then it's like, oh, it's very analogous to what happened in New York City. New York City has now had 2 black mayors. They both blew. Okay, Eric Adams, say no more. David Dinkins also sucked. Wasn't really corrupt like Eric Adams, but still sucked. It did, to his credit, the economy was bad then, so it was hard for him. Anyway, the point is, I think it'll be tougher for blacks to run for mayor in New York, despite the giant black population, because, hey, we tried a couple of blacks, it didn't work. Is that fair? No one says, hey, we tried white guys and they didn't work. And no one says that. But the point is, like, it's sort of like, that's just human nature. They go with what's familiar. And if you make the case like, like right now, literally, I got contacted on LinkedIn by a prospective cartoon client who's looking at hiring a cartoonist, and it's like they have never run someone with my politics. I'm saying,
Okay.
oh, I will bring you all sorts of new clients. I told them that. Well, new readers. If I don't, they're going to be like, well, we're never trying a lefty again. Fuck him. And that's exactly what's going to, that's exactly what happens. It's like, we tried some women, they did a bad job. And so people are disappointed. They feel let down. It's added to baked in sexism and misogyny. But I mean, I guess the problem here is I got the sense that people like Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren and people like that, they kind of like feminism 2.0, not 1.0. Feminism 1.0 knew they had to try be like Avis. They had to try harder. They had to work. They had to be 5 times better than the man to get equal credit. Feminist 2.0.
But today we get stuff like Kamala Harris.
Feminism 2.0, they didn't think that, but they were wrong. Maybe you have to try 4 times harder. But the point is, you're not there yet, and it's not fair at all. I'm not saying it's fair. It's not fair. It's not right, but it's reality. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, look, I think look no further for the philosophy on this than James Brown, 1966, It's a Man's World. It's a man's world. I mean, the whole point of that song, right, is highlighting.
But also remember how he called himself. Do you remember his self moniker? The hardest working man in show business. Yes. So the point is that James, so like even as a dude, although black dude, he knew he had to work hard and be perceived as working hard.
Sure.
Right? What did Elvis Presley say? What was his logo? TCOB, right? Or TCB, I forget what it is. Taking care of business.
Care of business.
And in other words, like you want to be people, even though you're a performer and you're just there to have fun. You're there. People to be taken seriously, you have to be perceived as working hard. Does anybody really think that Hillary Clinton busted her ass trying to figure out how to be the best fucking U.S. senator from New York State that she could possibly be? No, because it was handed to her by the Democratic National Committee.
Correct.
And she literally only had 4 bills that she sponsored as a senator from New York, all to rename post offices.
I know, stupid shit.
She was a terrible fucking senator,
So I agree with you. So the song "It's a Man's World," it's supposed to obviously highlight the civilization's contributions by men, but the role that women play behind the scenes, and for eons, for eras and eras and eras before, that's how it was, right? Because yes, it was the patriarchy, it was the man's world, and the men have sculpted the world that we live in today. Let's just fast forward like to the 20th century.
Done a fine job too.
Let's just fast forward to the 20th century. We know, like Margaret Mead, all these whatever women have control, whatever. We know all of that. I get it. But let's go to the 20th century.
Yeah.
Sure. But let's look at politics. Let's look at a narrow scope. You've highlighted a lot of the shit from Hillary Clinton, right? So even beyond
she had a terrible influence on women in politics.
Yeah,
not least because of who she was. She only broke in. She only got the job because she was first lady. She married into it. That's a bad optic.
So here's the thing. When we enter the era of females in politics, let's say from 1980 onward, right? In this
you'd have
postmodern feminine.
Very important.
That's correct. So we enter that world, and the women of Hillary's era, right? They came of age when girls were not expected to do those things nor wanted to do those things. So they had this different view of well, in order to survive in a man's world, I need to outman a man. I need to have bigger balls than a dude.
I gotta dress like a man, talk like a man.
I gotta dress like a man.
Cut my hair
I gotta
like
cut
a
my
man.
hair. Yes. I gotta outdude a dude. I gotta have bigger balls.
I've gotta my clit's gotta be bigger than their schlong. Yeah.
I gotta kill more people on the battlefield. I gotta start more wars than everybody else. I gotta show
I've gotta
them
be a bitch.
that I'm more masculine. Yes.
Gotta be a bitch. Yeah.
Like, no, beyond bitch. Like, I'm a big old swinging dick.
Yep.
That's what these women
That's
came
true.
in thinking. And that kind of ruined, I would say,
Well,
not
they were
only
wrong.
politics,
They were
they were
wrong.
wrong. Because I believe,
mean-
like, I think I'm post-feminist. I don't even know if that's a thing. But here's the thing. I embrace,
That
like, I
is
grew
your
up a tomboy.
Buto was a very feminine lady. You
Right.
know, and you know, I
Presented
think
as a
that's
lady, wore makeup, looked very pretty,
mhm.
you know, whatever
Gorgeous.
we may think of her politics.
Yeah,
But
politics shitty, but what are you gonna do?
but her, you know, her presentation, she embraced being a woman.
Shirley
She
Chisholm
embraced,
was clearly a lady.
like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I think I believe more in, like, I don't need to blend in to your world, Ted. Like, I always say, if I hadn't been a kid in the 80s, me being a tomboy today, they would have told me I can't be a tomboy. I must actually be a boy. So I should, you know, like,
Whack.
go go cut off a piece of my thigh and turn it into a penis,
Cut
right?
off your
And take some
boobs.
hormones.
Mhm.
That's right. I mean, you know, the boob chopping happened anyway, but that's a different story.
Well, that was nobody's fault.
That's a different story.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a cancer thing. But the whole point is, little girls like me grew up seeing the Hillary Clinton, and I was going, I used to think that too. Oh, like, girl power. I thought all of that stuff growing up,
Really?
right? And in
But
California,
you
but
thought
then
that
I
you had
got
to
to
you thought you had to
college.
butch up?
Yeah.
How
But then
come?
I got to college, and because that was the prevailing orthodoxy of what it meant to be like a strong woman. But then when you start looking at Margaret Thatcher, you start looking at when you're old enough to start looking at policy and really explore who these people are and what they are. And certainly by the time I entered my 30s, I was like, oh my God, these women are awful.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
I don't
awful.
want to be anything like these women. Like, this
Well, and
is a
what's funny is they
horrible
were more
example of
butch
what
than a
women
lot of
are.
men. I mean, like, if you think about
Yes.
the most successful male politicians of that era, I'm not going to count our current president because he's an exception. He's a throwback. But like, you know, like, think about Bill Clinton. He was a feminine dude. He was like, he was a round, soft, fleshy, doughy dude who said,
Yeah.
"I feel your pain." Right, and talked about
Feel your
being in
pain.
his acceptance speech at the
Talked about
'92
feelings.
convention about
Well, I
being
don't like that
beaten
either.
by his drunken ass, worthless
I
piece
know.
of shit stepfather, and
He
like
had feelings and he showed his vulnerabilities, and so
Al
that was,
Gore wasn't butch. He was a man for sure, but he
yeah,
wasn't like. I mean, and so men didn't feel this need to be super like me man.
right.
So
Like I'm Andrew Tate, like you know,
yeah,
like I'm gonna
I mean,
snap somebody in half.
yeah,
So
Pete
we're
Hegseth, you
we're
know, ridiculous.
right. Oh God, we're now like swinging in the opposite direction, and I do believe that's why this Reykjavik Index, which, Ted, how bad are we as journalists if neither of us knew that they were apparently the gold standard measure of how men and women feel about power?
Oh,
I
come
never
on,
knew.
Manila. Who knows what these fucking Icelandic fucks are up to with their, you know, whatever
How
they're
would I,
doing.
Ted? I never knew
With their
that this
polar
was like.
bears and shit.
I never knew that this think tank there was like the world gold standard of like measuring power dynamics between men and women.
It's
How
actually
did I know?
cool. It's really
That's
cool.
really cool, but I didn't
Yeah.
know it existed. I would have totally rapped on their door
By the
when
way,
I
that's
was there this
a
spring.
kind of dorky job I could see myself doing. Not that anyone would hire me.
But
to
I
do
think
it,
that's
but I would
really cool.
enjoy it. Yeah.
But I don't know what the audience thinks, but I really do think that in the back half of the 1900s, Ted, in which I became a young adult and you became an adult, and I believe that that presentation of what it meant to be a powerful woman got really distorted and conflated with I'm an asshole man. So
I
I
think
need
it's
to.
the deification of feminism is what
Yeah,
happened here.
yeah. And then they also told girls of that era, like, don't have kids, don't get married, don't. Those are all the things that actually make a woman amazing, fucking amazing, is that we can
and
bear
different
life.
from men.
Is that, yes.
I mean,
And
and like
why should we
honestly,
not
if
embrace those things?
and here's the dissonance, Manoa. I mean, if I may mansplain, if I mean the dissonance is if your pitch is let us drive the car because we'll do a better job because we're different, and then you're not different.
Right. Robbie has thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I've said before, famously, feminism is a poison. I sincerely believe that it's a poison, and you can prove it. One of the things I just kind of just put this out there. It is a undeniable fact that bringing women out of the workforce or bringing out of the home, putting them into the workforce, destroyed wages. It used to be that you were able to buy a house
That's
and raise a family
Well,
with a lot of
feminist
kids.
theorists agree with you, by the way, about
And
that.
that's mathematically, that makes sense mathematically if you flood the workforce with more
Yeah,
bodies.
supply and demand, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's just like immigration. So if you want to drive wages down, then what you do is that you increase the supply of something. Supply and demand is
Right.
the thing. So that first and foremost is a quantitative major problem. Second, we would not be having a demographic collapse in the West if women were at home embracing traditional roles, getting married, and having kids. We would not be having this problem. We wouldn't have the immigration debate. You wouldn't be able to say with a straight face, we need to import the entire fucking third world because people here aren't making babies. Because people here would be making babies. And you'd be able to actually survive off of one income. And you can call it misogynistic, you can call it whatever it is that you want. The facts are on my side on this.
I agree
And
with the
lastly, when it comes-
demographics, but I do think I'm going to echo, like probably Manila, something you've expressed earlier. I mean, a little girl should be able to have the same, most of, if not all, of the same dreams as a little boy. A little girl should not look at the list of American presidents and wonder, why are they all dudes? Why not one woman ever? Other countries have done it. Why not us? I mean, I think that's the issue here. I mean, surely there's, look, you and I, Robbie, we're all on the same page about, flooding, hiring people to fill jobs that Americans would be perfectly willing and able to take is wrong. But I guess the thing is, and I agree, we also have a demographic crisis that's only starting to become obvious, become widely apparent to most people. But that said, the question is, as a society, do we blame like one gender or one sex, or do we solve this problem? Do we roll up our sleeve and try to fix it together?
Well, I guess what I don't understand is, why is it even a problem to begin with? I mean, if you have competent leaders, does it really matter what plumbing it is that they have?
And
You're so funny.
Let's stay on track because we gotta bounce at 11. But the whole point to this conversation was that the trust in female leadership, and let's look only at the political part. I think that's a real thing, is that when women were finally allowed, quote unquote, allowed into power roles like a Hillary Clinton, they went and slaughtered everybody. They went and pushed slavery in Libya. They allowed that to happen.
It's because women are human.
Now the world is swinging. The G7 countries that are supposed to be like the Western leadership, right? Including Japan, which is the farthest east you can go, which I find ironic, but whatever. Is that they're now saying like, we don't trust women, and so it's like it's backfiring. It's blowback on my gender. Like it's because the women that have gotten there. I don't know how or why they've gotten there. And more recently in the 2010s, all this DEI shit. Like DEI is definitely serving for blowback. Like, do you think Joe Biden specifically saying, I want a black female on the SCOTUS bench?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that helped Ketanji Jackson Brown or Brown Jackson? Do you think that helped her? That did not help her. Nobody thinks she's qualified now.
Especially since
she's pretty good.
She's a DEI pick.
Even though she's pretty good.
Well, especially since she couldn't even tell you what a woman was because she's not a biologist. So I mean, there is that. That's kind of a
that's what I'm saying. That all this forced DEI stuff has actually caused a lot of blowback for competent women, and I think going forward, there's going to be less opportunity.
Because there was never any fucking
women.
buy-in with that DEI shit. It was never explained to anyone. It literally, like, look, I always like to say this. I mean, I'm not, obviously I'm not like the metric, the barometer of all things. But the point is that, like, when DEI was being bandied around, I literally did not know about it. I've been kicking around left-wing, liberal, progressive woke politics and organizations my entire fucking life. And like, I was like, what is it? And I had to keep looking up equity, and I kept looking up, and I couldn't, I must have read 15 websites before I found one that kind of was articulate enough to sort of explain what equity is compared to equality. And and then when I understood it, I was like, oh, it's bullshit. And it is bullshit. The definition is
it's bullshit, and it's ramming an ideology down everyone's throats that even if it doesn't feel
there's no buy-in.
right.
It makes no fucking sense.
Well,
because it doesn't feel right.
Equality makes sense.
Yes.
So there's people in the chat who are saying that I sound like a Afghan warlord. So I'm going to double down before I go back. It doesn't matter. I mean, because
can you wear a cool hat?
I just think great.
I guess. I mean, I just think the woman's place, honestly, is at home being a nurturing parent. And when it comes to female leaders, here's a big part of the problem. Like that little Chihuahua, who is the prime minister of Latvia or Estonia, who was talking about starting a war with Russia, or that little party chick in Finland.
Latvia.
It's just like,
the hot prime minister of Finland or whatever.
So first of all,
what was it Nordic country?
Here's the biggest problem I have with female leaders, and this is something that I equated with Hillary Clinton too. It's not women, whenever you start these wars, for the most part, who are asked to go fight and die in them. It's young men.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, I have a serious
number
problem
one is
with
a
women.
major.
American women don't endorse draft registration for women. And honestly, that's fucking wrong.
It is.
I don't like the draft at all, period.
I'm against that. It's fucking slave labor.
Well, here's the whole issue.
It implies the state owns you. After my kid turns 18, it implies that I am no longer in charge of my kid.
I think it says it outright.
Right. So that's, I'm not giving birth to a product for the state.
No. So if you're going to advocate a war and you have zero skin in that game, there is no risk of you getting torn apart by an artillery shell or getting shot by an AK round. Sit down, shut up, and make a sandwich because you don't have a fucking vote.
Easy for Hillary to say because she only got Chelsea.
But that's a good point. Remember when Hillary said that she was sniped at in Sarajevo, and it turned out
which was a fake story.
Dodging bullets,
100%.
As she ran across the
that's the
problem I have with feminism.
NBC News, Brian Williams. He's like, I was dodging Hellfire missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, feminism used to be the idea that women should have equal rights with men. By that standard, I'm a 1,000,000%. I'm a 1,000,000% feminist.
I agree with all that except for the right to vote.
Stop. Why no right to vote?
Well, that's a topic for another show.
Although it doesn't do any good. I mean, I think we could give it up and we could all save time every 4
maybe
years.
we could as a Rumble Premium episode. But no, I mean, equal protection under law, property rights, everything else. But I do not think the women should have the right to vote. And I can make argument for that on another case. Stay at home, make sandwiches, and have babies.
Thing or what?
Yeah, it is. Because
the whole story. No more because we're out of time. Because the whole point of the story is that just so everyone understands.
Also, women podcast hosts always shout down their producers. They're
always
terrible.
Fucking push these pushy ass female podcast hosts. The whole point of this is just that we're swinging in the other direction. And that seems to be, it's obviously I'm biased to this because I'm one of these vaginaed humans. So it's too bad. And I get why we are where we are. I get it. I'm not a DEI person and I'm not like a super, modern style feminist. Like I think I'm post that, or I'm equal rights, not equitable rights. There's no such thing. Because then that becomes special treatment.
The theory of equity is retarded.
That's special treatment.
The theory of equity
it is.
There's no zero-sum game. What we're doing is we're simply elevating the downtrodden, let's say woman in this case, up to the same level as the man, but we're not knocking the man down. Now, so that's based on a false assumption that life is not a zero-sum game. Of course it is. Manila, if you and I both apply to the same job and you get it and I don't, that sucks for me. It's a loss for me.
Right. But nowadays, people are going to wonder if
you get a Pulitzer that I applied for and I don't, well, that's a loss for me. So it's just not true. It doesn't acknowledge reality.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. However, because the last 10 or 15 years, we've had DEI crammed down our throats. Anytime there was a truly earned, a merited female winner or of anything, let's say anything, right? It's going to be questioned whether or not she got that because of DEI. And that is not fair to her either.
That's
And
true.
now here we are. So, like I said,
And that's true. I
poor
mean, just think
SCOTUS
about, like,
Katanji.
we brought up Kamala. You and I'm bringing her up because I've made endless fun of her, not just here,
Yeah,
but in
who
countless
doesn't?
cartoons and essays. Right? I do think she's a bird brain. I think she's a moron. But
Yeah.
and the thing is, though, everyone says, "Oh, she's affirmative action." I'm like, kind of like, yeah, I think so too, right? But
Yeah.
I do think so. But
But then you're sexist.
but then, do I think
racist.
the same thing about, like, the idiot congressman who thought that Guam was going to tip over if we had too many
That's so
planes on
good.
it? Like, not really.
Oh,
But he's a dude. But I mean, they're both idiots. You know what I mean?
they're both idiots. There's just so many idiots, Ted. Not enough time. So many idiots.
So
And
true.
yeah, that's the story. That's the story. Let me jaws us to the next one. That's you.
Speaking of which, a quiet fertility scandal has exploded into public view after officials revealed that a prolific sperm donor, we can call him the spunk master, fathered at least 197 kids across Europe. But here's the terrible part: he carried a hidden mutation linked to dangerous cancer risk. The man, who donated over a period of nearly 2 decades, supplied jizz to 67 fertility clinics in 14 nations, including Belgium, France, the Netherlands, Denmark, Britain, and beyond. His identity hasn't yet been released, but regulators say his donations were used far more widely than people previously thought, and that a portion of his sperm has a mutation capable of passing on a potentially life-threatening condition. The culprit is the TP53 gene, known as the guardian of the genome. The guardian of the genome. In healthy cells, TP53 helps to suppress tumors by repairing damaged DNA, but a mutation in the gene can create the Li-Fraumeni syndrome, a rare, devastating genetic condition that dramatically increases lifetime risk for cancers like breast cancer, bone cancer, brain tumors, and leukemia. If you have this mutation, you often develop cancer in childhood or early adulthood. Investigators say that while the donor himself is healthy, up to 20% of his sperm has the mutation, which means any kid conceived from that jizz could inherit a defective version of the gene in every cell of their body, a lifelong cancer liability. Belgium alone is believed to have dozens of affected births, with clinics in Ghent and Antwerp heavily involved. I just like to say Antwerp. France, which has one of Europe's largest donor recipient populations, is currently auditing records to determine how many families might be affected. In Holland, more than 60 births trace back to this single donor. Because the sperm was shipped across borders and stored for many years frozen, tracking each case is complicated, and basically it's a real problem. Thousands of people conceive kids through donors like this every year. So this case shows how a single donor can really fuck shit up. It's hard. It's horrible.
It's horrible. So look, they reported so far, and this is all from the BBC. And the BBC, I should point out, Ted, they kept saying over and over, not in the UK. They kept saying it's not.
Like, I was flying on.
Not us.
I was flying on Asiana, which is a South Korean airline, and right after a plane crash by Korean Airlines crash in Guam, second Guam reference in the same show. And they kept showing on the TV, on the news, on Asiana, the logo of the Korean Airlines wing, like, burning, and it kept saying pilot error.
They're like, not
fly Asiana, not KAL.
Right. So far, the BBC says they've found 23 of 67 known children with this what do they call it? This mutation. 10 have already been diagnosed with cancer. Oof. Some have already died.
Oh shit.
This is so fucking awful. And like here's like the grossest part, Ted. Like, So in Belgium, right, they said this one sperm donor, according to the law in Belgium, it, once his sperm creates 6 babies, everything else is like persona non grata. The rest of the sperm gets flushed down the toilet, whatever. That's supposed to be the rule, right? Because you don't want hundreds of kids being produced.
Yeah, you're
not
trying to create
knowing
some
that,
genetic diversity. You don't want to end up with
right?
you
The
got a
one
purty
dad.
mouth,
Oh my
inbreeding.
God. Instead of 6, 38 different women produced 53 children from this one donor guy in Belgium. So 38 women had 53 kids. So they had multiples using the same donation sperm. And theoretically, because of the mutation, those children are 90% likely to get some form of cancer. 90%.
Horrid.
That's fucking awful. Like when you sent this morning, I was like reading it. I was like, oh my God. Like I know a mom whose little 2-year-old died of a brain tumor right before her 2nd birthday. And it's just fucking heartbreaking that these children are like ticking cancer time bombs because you mass shipped this guy's jizz. The point is you're only supposed to have like 4 or 5 single digits in this country and that country.
But there's probably like, no global database.
Well, no. He went to this one sperm bank that was kind of like a mass supplier to the others.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happened. And this one sperm bank.
So they should have kept track, is what you're saying.
Yes. They shipped it out to the other EU countries to third-party sperm
banks. So they violated
bank.
their own rule, their own protocols.
Yes. Like this is like a law, not only ethical and unethical and disgusting, lawsuit central. And now you're playing with like children's lives. And sure, the guy started donating way back in 2005. So 20 years ago, we didn't have that kind of screening.
The screenings weren't as good. I guess this is a point, like if you're doing IVF or whatever, you're using sperm donors, you might want to really make sure.
Oh my God.
You get like,
this might be 20-year-old sperm.
The newest sperm that you possibly can.
Right. Or if you're buying 20-year-old sperm, you need to ask that sperm bank, like, has it been run through the newest, most sophisticated, modern screening procedures for XYZ? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're getting like old inventory that's been sitting there in the back of the freezer for 20 years. That's incredible. Like, children died, Ted. This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. And I think because the UK had just been have been Parliament has been raked over the coals with the national health blood donor thing with the AIDS and stuff and all that stuff coming to light the last couple of years, and they're still roiled in controversy over that. I think that's why the BBC put up disclaimers over and over in this very long article. Not in the UK, because they are dealing with a lot of flack from the whole AIDS blood donor thing still. Right. So
yeah, they are.
Like, yikes, man. Just word to the wise. Like, a lot of these women are single moms.
This reminds me of, I had a roommate who you've heard on the show mentioned a bunch of times. I should write a book about him. We'll call him Dan because his name is Dan, who used to, get $25 or $30 a shot donating his jizz. And I know he got paid more if they used his jizz, and they kept using it because he was a very intelligent, very good looking.
Yeah, you said
looked
he was
like
very
Rob
handsome.
Lowe.
Yeah, but
tall,
he had a club foot.
Same size as me, 6'2". Like same
a tall Rob Lowe.
Adonis-like body that you see before you.
Rob Lowe's short. That's why I say it's
Rob Lowe.
Tall Rob Lowe.
And it was just like sort of. Yeah. So anyway, the point is, but I knew his habits, right? I mean, he had drug use. There's mental illness in the family. One of his relatives was in a mental institution, and I remember just thinking, like, they don't know. They ask you a bunch of questions But
You can
if
lie.
you don't self-report and you want the 25 or the now $100 or whatever, like you're going to just say whatever they want to hear, right? So, I mean, the truth is, unless the genetic testing basically doesn't assume anything and just is capable of really screening for everything that really matters, it's not really 100% safe.
Yeah. Ted, it's like going to work for ICE, like we were talking about on
Oh
Monday.
God, you mean the
You just
retards?
go, you just ask, have you ever been under arrest for assault? And you're Jeffrey
Have you
Dahmer and you're
ever
like,
raped a child?
no.
Mm-hmm.
You're Jeffrey Epstein, you're like, no.
Raped child? No.
No. You're hired. You passed the test.
Good enough.
So that's right. So that's what's happening, I guess, in these sperm banks. All right, we got to get to our first sponsor of the day. I'll do that. All right. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free, because moldy coffee's gross. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, and a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. And also, that's not all, folks. A 1775 tumbler, $170 worth of coffee and gear, all yours for $99. Perfect timing for Christmas. This is the one for those who've been watching 1775 blow up right here on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Producer Robbie drinks it. He says it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're all gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. All right, let's go to the next. Oh, I guess this one be me.
That'd be you.
All right. So for generations, parents preached the gospel of higher education. I know mine did.
Hallelujah.
Beat me over the head with it. Get a degree, get a degree, get a degree, get a better job, earn more money. But fresh research from the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, Ohio, Ted, it's always Ohioans in the news.
Ohio is the center of all things.
Apparently, So the Federal Reserve Bank there says the old formula isn't working quite like it used to. In fact, high school graduates may currently have an easier time landing work than brand new college grads. Researchers examined job finding rates among unemployed people aged 22 to 27 from this summer. So this is very fresh new data. The results flipped conventional wisdom on its head. 37% of unemployed bachelor's degree holders found jobs or just stopped looking. I don't know how you can lump those all in together. I don't get that about the BLS. Like, you either got a job or you're not looking. But anyway, you're somehow not unemployed if you stop looking.
They should be separated, of course.
Two distinctly different things.
Yeah, if you stopped looking, it means you're not employed.
You're still not employed. So anyway, 37% with bachelor degrees, at least, let's just say for this sake of argument, they found jobs. Whereas 41.5%.
Somebody gave them money and they didn't care.
41.5% of high school grads did the same. They either found jobs or stopped looking. I hate this, that the BLS lumps those two, because these are two like disparately different things.
Manila, you couldn't possibly be more right. You're 100% right.
Just fucking okay. So this data could be completely all wrong or completely right about the bachelor's degree, but we don't know.
This data is ridiculous. All right, anyway.
We don't know. Fucking BLS data. In other words, those with less education, they're finding, don't blame me or Ted. This is coming from the Cleveland Federal Reserve. This is them saying this, that their summary is, in other words, those with less education are finding work slightly faster than young people with college degrees, an inversion of a decades-long trend. For decades, the playbook was straightforward. College grads faced lower unemployment, found jobs faster, and enjoyed steadier careers. Higher education was the reliable pathway to economic security. But now the researchers say, quote, not all employment advantages have disappeared for young college grads, yet the gap is narrowing. So why the shift? Cleveland Fed says it's not just COVID shockwaves. There's hiring freezes, and also AI replacing entry-level roles, though AI, quote, may be affecting job finding prospects in some cases, you think? The decline has been happening for years, long before ChatGPT arrived on the scene. Ironically, college's own success may be part of the problem. The decades-long push to expand access simply created too many graduates competing for the same pool of jobs. Older workers with degrees don't seem to be affected, Ted. In September, only 3.6% of degree holders age 25 to 34 were unemployed, far below the 4.4% national average of the unemployment rate. Meanwhile, the job market is volatile. Gen Z has a reputation for being tricky to hire and manage, and companies are increasingly experimenting with cheap AI tools in place of entry-level staff, especially in tech. Yet young workers of all education levels are the first true digital native generation, often better with AI than their bosses. So the takeaway for employers: expect resumes from both recent grads and high school only applicants, and consider whether every role really needs a degree. In a world where 41.5% of high school grads are finding work faster than 37% of new college grads, it may be time to rethink what skills matter most and who you're overlooking. I like that takeaway, Ted. I think part of my complaint of how can you lump two completely polarly opposite things together? Like, I found a job, I gave up. How you lump those two together? I don't know. But I do think the whole college thing, for the most part, is mostly a racket. I'm not saying you shouldn't go, because I think it expands your brain, but don't use it we as a society shouldn't use it as a barometer or a measure of who is hireable for a certain job. You know what I mean? Because I literally know some PhDs that are fucking morons. I know neurosurgeons that are fucking morons. Morons know nothing about how the world works, like financing a car, buying a house, like nothing. But they're so smart at this one thing, right? And they, unless you're going to do that, I don't know anymore, because like trading is starting to, increasingly being done by AI and other machines, other software, all these entry level good white collar jobs being done by software and AI. But you need, I've said this for years, like, you need people. We need more trade schools. We don't need colleges. We don't need more, art theory majors or drama majors. We don't need more of that. The world doesn't need more lawyers. There's plenty of that. But I can't get a plumber in here for short of $200 to just show up. So I'm saying maybe the people without the college degree, rather, the types of jobs they're looking for maybe are more plentiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I saw this coming a long time ago. Back in 1996, I published an article in Might magazine, which was Dave Eggers' magazine based in San Francisco, called Colleges for Suckers. And if you want to find it, you can get an old copy of my 1996 book called Revenge of the Latchkey Kids. You could order one through my website, rall.com. And basically, it was a very influential article. The American Society of College Presidents even ordered the article, the magazine, I think 10,000 copies of the magazine for all university presidents in the United States, because they were so worried that people would catch on to the fact that, like I said, college is for suckers. That's among the many myriad of reasons not to go to college, aside from the cost, is the opportunity cost. Think about people like Mark Zuckerberg dropped out after a year or whatever. So he picked up 3 years of work experience in tech that he wouldn't have had if he'd stayed at Harvard, right? So you lose 4, you're out of the workforce for 4 years. You pay about up to $450,000 to get a 4-year diploma, which may not be enough. You may need a master's and even a PhD to get the certification that you need. You're going to pay compound interest on that $400,000, which could bring you to a total easily of 1.2 million or more by the time it's all said and done. You could end up bankrupt as a result, and not even and totally, you can't discharge this in bankruptcy. But if you ever lose a job and the economy tanks, you're stuck with a debt that's higher than the cost of most luxury housing in the United States. And basically, the selling point used to be you borrow a little bit of money, then you get out with a bachelor's degree, and you will be able to make so much more money with that bachelor's degree that you'll be easily able to pay off those student loans, and then you'll have a higher, you'll have they called it the college earnings premium.
Right.
That was a real thing for many years. It stopped being a real thing by the 90s, and it's only gone away. It's gone away completely ever since. The fact is, unless you're in a very narrow bandwidth of professions where you have, that pay well and that require a college education, something like pre-med, for example. If you're in something like that, then the old college premium may work out. But let's say you're, a history major or, English major. It's not going to work out. So the thing is now, can you become a teacher without a college degree? No. So,
right.
But the thing is, if you become a teacher, can you ever pay off your student loans? Again, no.
No.
So basically, the whole system has completely collapsed because college tuition has vastly increased, much faster than the rate of inflation. I mean, let me put this into perspective, Manila. So when I graduated the year that I graduated from college was 1991. At that time, tuition at Columbia University was $16,000 a year. Okay. Now,
which is a lot for then.
My first job out of like a typical entry level job back then was like $30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how much is college tuition from the same exact school? It's $100,000 a year. Okay, so that means it's
at
gone
Columbia.
Yeah, it's gone over 3. It's 3.5 times higher than it was. So now, is the average typical starting salary $100,000 now? No. And to make things worse, I was paying between 5 and 9% compound interest on my student loans, and I could get it. So how much are kids paying now? Up to 30%. So like,
oh my God,
no one's got 5% on their student loans. Nobody's got 9.
I have single
digits. If they're lucky, they got 13, 14, 15. So yeah. So it's like so the whole system sucks ass now. It's really just arithmetic, and you don't need a fucking college degree to do this calculation. You can figure it out with a 9th grade math education.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend. Last thing I'll say about that is, she talk about pedigree. I mean, we're from the same neighborhood, from the hood, right? The Mexican ghetto of Whittier. And she went off to undergrad at Harvard. She got her graduate degree at Northwestern. We both, and I, as I've told you, I was in and out of college, went to a couple junior colleges before I finally went to a no-name 4-year private school in Burbank. Well, so fast forward now through the series of choices and ballsy moves. I grew up to achieve the dream that I wanted, to be a journalist and travel the world. She went the route of teaching English. Despite her, but here, she's teaching English at our old high school. And I'm not knocking her for that, I think, because both my parents were teachers in the old country. But at the end of the day, you're paying for Harvard and Northwestern on an English teacher salary.
That's it. That's it right there. I mean, I bet, by the way, if you get a full scholarship, it's worth noting, by the way, if you're like 16 or 15, that those really expensive schools like Harvard are far likelier to give you a full scholarship than so $100,000 a year school might really be cheaper than a $50,000 a year job school. I would, you
Could
have a
be
better
if it
shot
works
at getting
out.
money out of Harvard than say out of like, Tufts or something like that.
Yeah. All
But
right. Quick read of number 4, Ted.
all right.
Just not a lot of comment.
Toma Talant, a 41-year-old Albanian dude, recently staged a daring escape from the Opera maximum security prison in Milan, Italy, using a method right out of a movie. He managed to snatch a file from the prison workshop, no cake, without anyone noticing, and then used it to cut through the metal bars of his cell window before rappelling down an improvised rope made from, wait for it, knotted bed sheets. Toulon, who was scheduled to be released in 2048, decided he didn't want to wait that long. So instead, he crossed the prison courtyard, climbed the outer wall without anyone noticing, because they're Italian and they're not the hardest working people. It was probably dinner o'clock, wine time is going. Anyway, although some sources claim that the security cameras did catch his movement, but the alarm didn't go off because Italy. That might have something to do with the time of the escape, which coincided with the changing of the guards. Although the recent escape was impressive, what really caught people's attention was Talon's reputation as a prison break expert. This was his 4th escape from prison. First time he got out was 2009 when he escaped from a facility in Telni. Then he got out again in 2013 from a prison in Parma. And then in 2013, 2023, just to show that it's not just the Italians that he can pull the wool over, he decided to escape from a Belgian prison, just because, where he used a human pyramid formed by prisoners to climb over the wall. I wonder what happened to the other members of the pyramid. I personally would go with a human rhomboid, just to be different. Although the 41-year-old escape king never got to stay free very long, the fact that he managed to repeatedly escape prison has captured the public imagination. Toma Talan's most recent feat sparked renewed criticism of conditions in Italian prisons, where overcrowding and guard understaffing are long-standing problems. Was he recaptured this time?
The article just kind of ends there, but I think he was recaptured.
Let's find out, because I got to know that before.
Now you got to know, Ted. I guess he might be a geometry major or something. A rhomboid, you said? Like, would that have been a better shape than a human pyramid?
He was a drug lord.
Oh, he's a drug lord.
How do you get promoted to full-fledged drug lord? I mean,
is
drug lord below drug kingpin?
Oh, I think lord is the highest level. I think you're the final boss.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the hierarchy.
How about a drug
lord?
What if you're a drug derp? Is that different?
Lord, kingpin.
I mean, that's like, I wanted to know how that one guy got to be promoted to the Lord of the Dance. Truly, he always was. Truly, he was the Lord of the Dance.
So that's your fun, weird news Wednesday.
I love that guy.
I kind of love him.
By the way, I think, new rule.
Toma
to steal from Bill
man.
Maher. If you escape from prison twice,
yes,
the second time you get to stay out.
I thought that too. I'm like, if you're good enough to slip away 2 times,
they let you go. The first time we catch you again, we throw you back in. But if you get out a second time, that's on us.
This is a 4th
the ancient Romans had that rule. Like, if they tried to execute you 3 times,
like double jeopardy.
It was 3 times. If they tried to, say, decapitate you, which was the most standard form, it happened. There was a Christian saint who they took 3 whacks at her head and failed, and then the crowd demanded that she be released, which she was, and she went on to live a long, full life, like 30 or 40 years. Her body, embalmed and not decomposed, was found in the catacombs, and they found the scar tissue on the back of her neck. I mean, I bet that was I don't know how much vitamin E you'd need to get rid of that scar tissue. But the point is, she was fine. And,
that should be a rule.
And in the Old West, if you tried to hang someone, the rope broke a couple of times or whatever.
Right.
People would usually say, just let him go.
Right. Right.
That's how
I'm
it
gonna
should be.
Ted, let's start a campaign. #free Toma.
Yeah, free Toma. I mean,
Free Toma, man. 4
drug
times.
lord, drug schmord,
Whatever.
I mean, when did drugs ever hurt anyone?
Well, Ted, he's just a drug lord. It's not like he's Purdue Pharma.
That's actually a really good point. He might be an
So-
Albanian thug, but he's not like running he's not the president of United Healthcare killing millions
Right.
of people. Yeah.
Escape artist, like 4 times, dude.
No, I think if a guy weasels out of prison 4 times, I mean, forget 4 times. Like I said, the first time
He should
the
be
state
free
gets you
already.
back.
Free Toma Tallant. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
I kind of admire his
I'm
tenacity.
on Team Toma.
All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow on Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Adios, amigos.
Bye.
Bye, all.